Hello to each and every one of you. Welcome to our channel, Logical NDE, where we post accounts of people's near-death experiences that they have shared with us. If you've never visited one of our videos before, we'd like to let you know that we make them with people with open minds who are interested in learning about the hereafter in view. Please help us out if you actually enjoy these kinds of tales by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. This will allow you to keep up with all of our most recent offerings, such as this one. As for our regular viewers, let us begin rolling today's episode while you sit back and relax with your favorite beverage in your hand. Today's story comes from Mr. Douglas, who had his incident of near-death experience back when he was 12 years old. Hi everybody, my name is Douglas Edward Fire, and I come from London. I lived my whole life in the city of London from childhood to adulthood. My near-death experience that completely altered my life came from the time I was 12 years old. It was mid-February and London was extraordinarily cold in the year 2013. I was heading towards my school. It had snowed the previous night and the path was covered in white, fresh snow. I made my way through the snow-covered path and headed towards my school, which was on a 5 minutes walk away from my home. It was a usual walk for me. I would meet my friends from my section on the walk, but that day, my mother had sent me a bit earlier, so I could not see a lot of people from my class. I found a shorter route to take for the school, and even though my parents had warned me multiple times to not take that way, I still wanted to reach before my due time so that I could practice for my presentation the other day. While I walked towards my school, I went treading along the road because it was a little clearer as compared to the footpath, which was entirely buried in snow. I made my way through it. As I was 2 blocks away from my school, I heard the revving of the engine from very close by. I got scared, and as soon as I turned around, I saw a car running right towards me. The rest was all a blur because the next moment I opened my eyes, I could only hear ambulance sirens and my mother wailing down there. I was being carried on a stretcher with multiple figures trying to revive me, but I was falling in a deep slumber. There was a lot of redness, and I could feel the blood oozing out of my body. We take a moment to sincerely appreciate your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel if you genuinely enjoy viewing these kinds of stories. This way, you'll be able to stay up to date on all of our new releases, including this one. Make sure to link up to us right away. Now, let's continue with our story. My body had paralyzed itself with fear, and I had nowhere to go. I could still hear my mother screaming and someone trying to pacify her when I felt myself steady in the air. I was floating in mid-air in the ambulance I was being carried in. I was super scared of what was happening to me, but within a second that feeling passed. I was being carried somewhere in the air. I tried to figure out my surroundings, but I could only see clearly with my eyes closed. That was the hardest minute for me because I had to close my eyes to be able to have a vision. The second minute, I found myself at the doorstep of my old house, the one I had the fondest memories of my childhood in. There was mist all around me. I tried to figure out how to open the door, and as soon as I pushed at it, the door creaked open. I could smell my entire childhood there. I walked along inside. It was silence, but something told me that I was not alone there. I had a feeling as if I was being watched by someone, as if I was under someone's strong gaze. I tried to look around to find somebody inside, but in vain. I got the urge to open up all the rooms, and one by one, I went up the stairs. And to my surprise, I found my grandfather's room open there. Grandpa. I called out for him. I could hear his rocking chair rocking in his room. I barged inside and saw my grandfather resting on his chair with a book in his hand, like he always would, back in the days we spent in that house. He turned around from the chair and smiled at me. I wanted to run to his arms, but I was in shock to find him. My grandfather passed away when I was about 6 years old. To see him again revived too many memories to be able to keep track of. I wanted to cry with joy and hug him and tell him I missed him a lot and was glad to be reunited, but suddenly he got up from the chair. He ushered me out of the room and said, "Why are you here right now? We'll call you up later. Go back home." And I stared at him, partly in disbelief. I wanted to stay there. I didn't want to go back to my world, but my grandfather forced me to go back. Suddenly, my eyes opened back to my own world. I was in the hospital with multiple tubes attached to me. I heard someone shriek in surprise. "He's back, we got him." The next remained a blur to me. My mother explained to me whatever had happened to me through all that time. She told me how every person in the room knew that I was dead. And I was. For more than 7 straight minutes, I was gone, and they were unable to resuscitate me. I told my mother about what I saw on the other side. It took up a toll on my mental health seriously. However, quite luckily, I had survived my major injuries. It took me a month to get over all the injuries and start my life all over again, rejoining school. But that was the major turning curve of my life. I was only 12 years old, but this experience stayed with me till date, where I am a 22-year-old young man. I'm glad I got to see my grandfather on the other side, and for the longest time, I like to believe that I got saved from death by him. I continued living gladly for his sake, because he sent me back. I like to believe that he wanted me to live all over again and be strong enough to deal with things that would hurt or injure me. The near-death experience of my life remained a major building block of my personality for the longest time in my life. I am glad I was able to navigate through the dark patches of my life by seeking motivation from it. That's all for today, folks. Do you believe NDE changes the lives of all the people experiencing it? Do leave a comment. On that note, we hope that you thoroughly enjoyed today's episode with us. To share your thoughts regarding this latest video, do comment down below and let us know your valuable feedback. You can also support our channel by clicking the subscribe button and turning on your notifications so that you never miss an update from us. Until next time, stay blessed.